LIPSA, how are you?
Sir, I am good.
Okay, so this is your first interview?
Sir, last time also I had appeared interview.
Okay, great. So you have tell something about your education background.
Sir, I have done my schooling from DAV Public School, Angul district of Odisha. After that, I did my intermediate from DAV Chandrasekharpur, Bhubaneswar, and then I did my graduation from BITS Pilani in Tripoli, Electrical and Electronics Engineering, and then I got placement in Oracle as campus hire, and thereby I am working there and simultaneously also pursuing my interest in civil services.
Okay. So you have got anthropology and pol science.
Yes, sir.
So recently France issues we know. Okay, so can you highlight something that one? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Recently, an African origin person was allegedly killed by the French policemen, which triggered violence in France. It is related more to ethnic issue and also illegal immigration issue. And since there has been a strict separation of secularism, like religion, from the state of France, so it is also in a bit related to that. In my opinion, the state should refrain from discrimination in this sense, and also police reforms needs to be done, and before police law should not be taken in the hands of police, and they should respect the constitution of France in this scenario.
Okay, so basically which part of Africa in that particular shoot the person who was victimized that one?
Sir, I think Algeria and
Algeria, Morocco.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the recent the Emmanuel Macron, the head of France, he was much interested to develop much relations with India. Was there any any agenda or any vision in between the bilateral relationship between France and India, that what they want to make a transformation?
Sir, recently our Honorable Prime Minister paid a visit to France, and there was a defense agreement signed where India purchased 26 Rafale aircrafts from France, and also there was talk to deepen the foreign relationship between India and France. And yes, sir, so these are the broad issues which we focused.
So LIPSA, what are the foreign policy of India?
Sir, India has a non-alignment policy, and India gives priority to its own national interest. Simultaneously, India follows the path of Panchshil, which is peace. And coming to the nuclear sector, India follows a non-deterrence policy. And yes, sir, so these are the...
So in Russia-Ukraine war, Russia is violating the human rights and killing innocent people of Ukraine. And India is, while voting against Russia, India is abstaining in the UN Security Council to vote against Russia. Do you think that India is indirectly supporting the war or indirectly supporting Russia in the war?
Sir, I think India is in its path of strategic interest. It is not supporting Russia, which we clearly saw in the Samarkand summit, where our Honorable Prime Minister said that this time is not for war. We should rather return to the table of dialogue and discussion. And sir, I think Russia is important for India in certain point of view. Like Kautilya's Mandal Siddhanta also says, a strengthened Russia is in favor of India. So I think India is not supporting Russia. India is in its strategic interest, but when it comes to certain sectors like purchasing oil from Russia or voting not voting at all, I think India is taking stand, keeping its national interest and strategic interest in its top priority.
Okay. So in Afghanistan, a terrorist group have taken over the government, and they are violating the human rights. They are girls, they are not allowed to go to the school after 7th standard, and also not in education. So what will be the India's stand? If India will support a terrorist-led government, it will violate its principle of anti-terrorism and this one, and against the human rights violation. If it is not supporting the government, it will be against the strategic interest, because we have invested so much in Afghanistan. So what should be India's stand?
Sir, I think India should see two situations differently, Afghanistan government and Afghanistan people. India should have different policies for both set. When it comes to Afghanistan people, human rights are the top priority and India has always shown support to the cause of human rights. So how India is helping now the people of Afghanistan, India should continue that. And when it comes to Afghanistan government, as how you mentioned, now it is taken over by a terrorist group. So in that scenario, India should make it clear that its national interest, like the terrorism, should not infringe upon the Indian boundary. That should not be hampered. India's national interest should be the first priority, and keeping that in focus, India can go ahead in planning the next forthcoming steps with the government of Afghanistan.
Okay. So tell me, what are the policy or the steps taken by government of India to counter Chinese aggression in the Indo-Pacific as well as the Indian boundaries?
Yes, sir. First of all, we have India is strengthening its boundary, which is along the LAC line of actual control. We are deploying military forces over there, as well as coming to tackling the trade deficit, because that is also an important economic aspect. India is encouraging to indigenize many apps and indigenize many production, so that we reduce the Chinese imports. And when it comes to the Indo-Pacific sector, India is developing its contact with the Southeast Asia through Asian initiatives like ASEAN, and also India is strengthening its naval base. So these are the steps which India is taking to counter China.
Okay, so you think that this particular McMahon line, when McMahon line was segregated, the line was demarcated?
Sir, I am not exactly aware about
during British era. Okay, so does China is not proper following?
Yes, sir.
There is an encroachment from which part of India, in particularly China?
Sir, China is mainly encroaching from the Aksai Chin Aksai Chin area, and then from the Arunachal Pradesh area.
Arunachal Pradesh.
Yes.
You have some say over this Galwan Valley? Where it is? Yeah.
Sir, Galwan Valley in Jammu and Kashmir. So recently, Ladakh Union Territory. So, sir, recently China crossed its LAC boundary, and Galwan Valley. There was a clash in Galwan Valley, but immediately our Indian forces, Indian Army also came to the forefront, and then the Chinese army, they retreated back. So I think that this is a type of pressure tactics from China to pressurize India, so that India refrains from constructing infrastructure projects along the border. But Indian government and Indian Jawans, they have beautifully handled the situation, and I think India is now in a path to its development, and India has enough capacity to counter such Chinese aggressions.
Okay, good. So you have got anthropology as an option.
Yes,
so how far you think that if Sanskritization process in Odisha, how far it is visualized, this one Sanskritization process? What is your opinion on the Sanskritization process in Odisha?
Sir, we can Sanskritization process has been at different levels in the state of Odisha. For example, when we take the tribes like Bonda tribes who live in the Malkangiri district, we cannot say that they are Sanskritized enough, because they have their own indigenous culture. They live in the hill area, and they are mostly alienated from the mainstream culture. But when we come to tribes like Santhal tribes who stay in the Angul district, they are very much Sanskritized. They follow the Hindu festivals like Durga Puja, Ganesh Puja, etc. So we can rate the Sanskritization in a scale with which is different for different tribes of Odisha.
So, LIPSA, the National Judicial Appointment Committee. So it was passed by both House of the Parliament with a special majority, and also half of the state ratified. After that, President also approved. After so much effort of bringing National Judicial Appointment Committee, Supreme Court make it null and void. So what ground it has make it null and void or cancel?
Sir, Supreme Court made it null and void on the ground that it breaches the separation of judiciary and executive, which is a basic structure of the constitution. So according to Supreme Court, it violated the basic structure of constitution. That's why it declared it as null and void.
So basic structure of the Indian constitution, whether it is mentioned anywhere in our constitution?
No sir, it is not mentioned anywhere. It is a judicial innovation.
So judicial innovation, this is not mentioned. So how can you tell that which is not at all mentioned in the constitution, how it is violation of the constitution?